From the Caribbean News Desk, the morning edition. Good morning. I'm Kendol Morgan.
And I'm Denis Chabrol with the latest from across the Caribbean.
Efforts at the United Nations to expand the Kenya-led security mission in Haiti to a full-fledged UN peacekeeping mission have been blocked by Russia and China. The two permanent Security Council members argued that the move was premature and could entangle the UN in a volatile situation without any guarantee of success. Haiti's leaders have been pushing for a stronger, better-equipped UN mission to fight the unrelenting gang warfare, which has engulfed most of the capital, Port-au-Prince. The current security mission, which was expected to have 2,500 officers, has so far only attracted 400 from Kenya, with smaller supporting numbers from Belize, the Bahamas, and Jamaica. UN Assistant Secretary General for the Americas, Miroslav Jensia, told a meeting of the UN Security Council yesterday that Haiti's administrative systems could unravel without urgent international attention.
Mr. President, robust international security support is required now. There are no ideal options for addressing the severe and multifaceted crisis in Haiti. But as time passes and the situation deteriorates, we are left with less options and the Haitian people are left with less hope. It is high time we turn commitments into action to prevent any further erosion of security and state authority in Haiti.
Meanwhile, the United Nations official told yesterday's Security Council meeting that even as Haiti's security situation remains volatile, the deportation of Haitians from other countries has been continuing.
Over 167,000 Haitians have been deported from several countries so far this year, including 35,000 since 1st October. The United Nations remains fully committed to standing with Haiti through these challenging times, but more resources are needed to provide vital assistance and support.
Britain's new Labour government says it is maintaining the country's unwavering commitment to self-determination for its overseas territories, including those in the Caribbean. The premiers of the Caribbean's 6 British overseas territories have joined their other counterparts in London this week for the annual Overseas Territories Joint Ministerial Council meeting. It's the first meeting since the British Labour Party took office in elections this year, and the new government says the event will focus on transforming the relationship for the cooperation of shared interests. The Caribbean's British overseas territories attending are Anguilla, Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Montserrat, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. The British Virgin Islands government has already announced plans to address constitutional reform beginning January next year.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says shareholder governments in the bankrupt and closed Liat airline Liat 1974 will have to decide how laid-off workers in other countries will be paid their severance.
Well, at some point we will have to look at that. I think we would want to perhaps get the other shareholding governments together to see how it could be addressed. But there's some shareholding governments that have not even taken care of their local people, much as ask them to look beyond the shores. But Antigua and Barbuda remains open to any regional initiative that could bring some relief to those displaced workers in other countries.
Antigua and Barbuda is about to secure a $17 million bond to make a compassionate payment to former Liat 1974 employees in that twin island nation.
The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, says it has commenced the voting process for the election of its next president. The successful candidate will fill the vacancy left by St. Lucian Dr. Hyginus Jean Leon, who resigned in April after being sent on administrative leave by the bank in January. The CDB says its Board of Governors commenced the voting process on Wednesday and is expected to complete it by December 6th. The Barbados-headquartered bank supports economic and social development in its borrowing member countries throughout the region.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday said his country is keen on buying Guyana's oil to feed its development. He expressed an interest in tapping into Guyana's oil supplies during his address to the country's National Assembly.
Demand for energy is growing rapidly in India, and India is also diversifying its energy sources. In this regard, we view Guyana as an important energy source. We are also making continuous efforts to ensure that our businesses invest more in Guyana.
Indian companies have secured contracts to build infrastructure and to supply aircraft to the Guyana Defense Force.
This has been the morning edition from the Caribbean News Desk. You may contact us by phone or WhatsApp at +592 700 9293. Thanks for listening.